Hello, so this is my first video ever showing my face on the camera, so please bear with me getting used to all the settings and how to maneuver all this stuff. But my name is Victor. I go by Unlimited Limitless. I have my own private Discord called Insane Investments. I primarily trade option contracts in the stock market. However, I do maintain also a long-term portfolio, so not just a trading portfolio. And so, I analyze crypto markets. I'll analyze, bond markets, forex markets, any currency, anything, any stock. I will take a look at it, and that's kind of what I do for my students in the group. And so I'm a student as well, obviously. This video is going to be hopefully the first of many in 2026. This is just going to be kind of an outlook on this week, quick recap of what we did in the server. Tail end of 2025, right? Thank God for all the blessings we're able to see. And then also just to look at what to expect this week, in my opinion, for at least QQQ and Nvda. And then again, we'll recap kind of gold, silver, where it's sitting at, and then crypto as well, which, if you're in my group, I'm always looking at crypto. So anyways, let's just take a quick glance at the chat here. So in the stock outlooks channel of my private server here, I am posting outlooks early morning. You see 8:20 a.m., 8:28 a.m., 9:08 a.m., sometimes after the market opens, just depending on what I see. And then updates as well, right? Sometimes I forget to post updates, but it's okay. So these outlooks normally are going to come before market open, unless I don't like what I see. I don't see any outlooks. I might post them later, a little after market open. Again, stock market opens here at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time in Texas, and so I try to get my outlooks right before market opens. But there it is. So on the 30th and 31st, we're still watching some Nvidia levels. I said, I think Nvidia could basically pull to the downside as of 31st. This is the day before New Year's Day. I was like, you know what? I think we'll see some sell-off at open for Nvidia. And then for QQQ, as of the 30th, I had posted, and these levels ended up holding overnight. So that just means like this blue dotted line up here, this purple, which normally is dark blue, but anyways, this is my upside and downside levels. So this is normally how I post my outlooks, right? Like I'll give my folks an idea of what I'm looking at. Again, not financial advice, not telling anyone what to do, but I provide upside and downside levels just based on, hey, whatever volume does, however buyers and sellers move the stock or whatever we're looking at, this is what I think could happen. Above here is continuation, and then below here is continuation, right, to the downside or upside or whatever level we're looking at. So did that for QQQ, and we got some amazing sell side the next day. So again, levels, just these levels here, literally price just stayed inside of it the whole time, didn't break up or down until the 31st, and we got beautiful. I mean, it was really pre-market. You could see sell side there, it pulled back, and then there's a continuation sell side into our 4-hour target. It was awesome, like $5 literally worth of price action or something crazy for QQQ. So awesome to see there. That is a quick update on the stock side as far as the tail end of last week. And then let's look at really quickly the gold and silver chat messages. I guess I dropped them in here. So I just wanted to provide a quick update because these were, again, trading at all-time highs. Gold and silver have been obviously far outpacing the U.S. dollar, right? U.S. dollar is down however much percent year to date, right? Over the last 12 months, and gold and silver has been outpacing them, outpacing the dollar tremendously. Obviously, crypto outpacing the dollar tremendously. And so it's just something to keep an eye on, whether you own gold and silver or are interested in potentially owning gold and silver. It's good to know what the price is, right? So especially, if you're going to ever do that, you want to know what the prices are so you don't get screwed, right, in the process of purchasing your next piece of jewelry or, your next holdings in, right, there are stocks and companies that fund mining companies and so on and so forth. And there are mining companies you can invest in. And so anyways, gold and silver markets, definitely worth watching. Hedge against the dollar, all that stuff. So I basically said, I think we see some sell side, right? I think gold at this all-time high, it kind of looked like perfectly primed to continue. Like, obviously, this should continue to the upside. It's bullish. It's been doing that. Why not go higher? But as you know, if you in my chat or even if you just practice technical analysis, you're well aware that hey, nothing is guaranteed in any market. And so we're going to analyze it to see what are the possibilities, upside, downside, whatever. So that's all I did here. And I was like, hey, you know what? This also looks really good for the downside. Well, obviously it's bullish. It could continue. I could also see gold selling. And I did the same thing with silver. I was like, you know what? Silver, just a very simple, like kind of a goofy trend line. Two very large points of interest. One mitigated, or one has already been, taken into account of price. It bounced out of that 4-hour buy side imbalance. And we could see sell side of this 4 hours, basically what I was saying. And then as time went on, literally, I mean, this was not just, within the next couple minutes, although it did start on, the next couple hours after I posted. We got some sell side on gold already happening there, but it just continued. And so we ended up getting actually a huge rip to the downside for gold there. We see this is basically like kind of where it started, right? I was like, I think we see a break of this trend line. Maybe we fill that 4 hour, maybe we continue. No guarantees. We've been bullish. And then price just, absolutely sold. So can't ask for anything better than when your outlooks hit and price targets are hit, and everything kind of just works out, especially on time, right? But so shout out to the homies that in the chat that were able to look at that and hopefully again make their own analysis, make their own decisions, and make their own profits off of that. And those outlooks again posted well in advance with updates. Shout out to anyone in the server. We'd love to see you in there if you're not. What else as far as recaps goes? So that was gold and silver. We did look at QQQ stocks, Nvda, all that. So let's go back to 12/28, 2025 Bitcoin micro. So shout out to John, Mr. John G in the chat. Asked me on the 28th around 4:38 p.m. What do you think will happen with Bitcoin? What are the charts saying? So I immediately responded, after doing a bit of analysis, obviously my own research, right? And so big picture, she looked ready for a leg up, which we'll even look at, because again, we're here at January 4th today. So this was posted on 28th of December, just a couple days ago. We'll look at where Bitcoin's at right now. But yeah, so basically I think, macro or big picture, I think it's ready for a leg up. It may be the optimist in me, but that's what I'm seeing. And then Bitcoin micro, I was thinking in the smaller picture, it's kind of in limbo. If we even take a look here, this is what it looked like as of 22nd ranging to the 28th. Basically I noticed that Bitcoin created this low around the 21st, 20th, and then this high here, but somewhere between the 7th and the 10th. And since then, pretty much since that the 10th or the 7th, whatever that was, that high, we had not broken above or below that lower high with Bitcoin. Price just kind of stayed, and I believe again those prices somewhere around, like the high was like, what is that, 94, and then our low was somewhere around 80k, yeah, something like that. So, and I was like, you know what? And look at where price is at. Literally at time of my screenshot, Bitcoin right under here is basically at the 50%. So I just kind of drew this, backwards facing E, and all that is showing is the top and the bottom, the high and the low, those prices there, and then the midway point about. And I did, use my measuring tool and all that stuff, but on TradingView there. But anyway, so it's resting at the 50%. So it was like kind of in limbo. I'm like, yeah, at this point, it's just buyers and sellers. I don't know what's going to happen. In the micro view, the small picture, but the big picture shows me, hey, we've had some sell-off since what is that, October, and we could see some price buying from there. That's all I was saying. And now as we get an update on Bitcoin, we'll do that first, I guess. Go to the charts here. You can see exactly that markup where I made that. Let's actually take it to the 4 hour. It's going to give us a bit more candles here, but I think it'd just be easier to zoom in, zoom out. It'll look a little bit better in my opinion. There it is. So the 4 hour here, we see, yeah, literally at the time of screenshot, we were probably like here, and price kind of did, bounce and came back to that 50%, a little below, a little above, a little back at the 50%. And then since then, we did get the small leg up I was mentioning. And take note though, if you will, like there's a small trend line here, right? There's all these white dotted trend lines. I'm sorry, there's so many. But if you can relax and breathe and focus, there's not too many. And so here's one. It kind of just stretches straight across the screen there. We just broke that one. If I were to continue these other ones, without confusing you or making you dizzy, this other big picture one, I would say, really matters. And that's from our all-time high, kind of just a straight shot down, just connecting the dots again. These small lower highs from that sell-off. So we had all-time high. Basically all I did, took that trend line, connected it to some lower highs since we've been selling from our all-time high. and we've broken that trend line as well. So like actually around the time of my screenshot, I think Bitcoin was still kind of playing around that trend line, but we've since continued trading sideways, right? We primarily have gone just sideways here, not really too much up or down. Again, as notated by that low and high, but we see price just continuing to rip. Potentially going to take out that high here, yeah, around 94,700, we'll call it there. Above 94,700, I think we go to 96K for Bitcoin. But again, this is a 1 week sell side. I think Bitcoin could sell between these levels. Oops, let me not move that, but I'm trying to showcase between here, these two white dotted lines between 98.9 really and just call it 96K there. I think Bitcoin can sell. This would be an area of resistance, I would say, and it makes sense. See, we were using it as support at one point, and then price kind of broke that floor and just sold lower. And so since that sell-off, we've tried to pull back. So we'll see how we react kind of at this old support level, current resistance level, if Bitcoin does end up pushing to 96. But that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin this week. Potentially a leg up to 96K. If not, we'll just come back to revisit 80, 81, 80K, somewhere in there and test that floor. That's what I'm thinking. If not up, then down, right? XLM, again, another crypto. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to Ondo. Long story short with these, if you're interested, Stellar Lumens here, we did not reach my 1 week target, which we've been eyeing for the longest. So here at, what is that, 19.59. We were so close. We like 19 was at 7.4. You can call it hit. You can call it hit. But basically, that was my target. We're so close. I did still buy some more. So I'm loading up personally. I am loading up. Changing my average, trying to bring it a little lower, but you know, I accumulated so low and just kept buying more. My average has kind of only gone up, but it's okay. We're still positive, you know, with this Bitcoin bounce here to 93K. We're seeing some green in the portfolio. And so Ondo, same thing, right? This target I had below is at 35.1, and we reached a low of, if we zoom in on that candle, the low L, the top left of the screen says 0.354. So I mean, we were within, again, less than a penny. 0.351 was the target, and we're at 0.354. So I call it a win. But anyways, we bounced from there. Gold, this is again some of our outlooks we had in the chat. So we just looked at the crypto. We mentioned the futures, which is a gold and silver chat that sold, right? And so we already looked at those, but since then, update, right? Looking at this week, crypto outlooks, gold outlooks, silver outlooks, stock outlooks. We are seeing some pullback. So I mean, that sell-off, great sell-off, right? We had, it's just not too huge in all reality, but it was a nice sell-off, a healthy one for sure. It needed it. Since our sell-off, our call out there, and we'll just drag this to the bottom to make it easier to see. Might as well make it look a little bit better there. So there's the sell-off, right, to the lowest point we have so far. We've had some buying, really, some buying since, what is that, low on the 30th. We could call it 4 days of buying for gold here. It brought us back successfully to our daily target, which I believe was created there. So this is our first mitigation. So we're going to change that to green. This is my first time again. I'm doing these updates live with you guys. I'm looking at these markets Sunday night as I would normally. I'm just trying to start something new here, a new series. And so this is my update as well for myself, as well as you guys. But anyway, so outlooks for this week. We had our upper and lower levels for gold. Again, these look different, not on the 15-minute time frame, but they look different like on the 4-hour here. These, again, light blue, dark blue, that's my upper and lower levels. So we have had some buying above the light blue. We did get a little bit of selling below. I would honestly trust the sell side, maybe level a little bit more. It looks like the buy side, again, just after messing with that daily, maybe we come back to build support above here. I would really watch for buys above 404, whatever the bottom of that daily is, would be ideal, because it means it possibly could continue to just fill. Again, that's risky, because again, I would expect from this sell side imbalance, this is an imbalance, or this zone, excuse me, was created based on selling. As you can see by this long slew of sell candles in there, that's where the imbalance was created on both the daily and the 4-hour here. We also, you see the 4-hour sell side imbalance we've been hanging out inside of. So let me not confuse myself. The 4-hour, I'm going to just drag this back to kind of just reiterate the fact that it's basically filled. The daily I'm going to drag over here because that's these two white dotted lines. So yeah, so we should be selling from here. So I maybe raise this to here. And how far are we from the 50% actually? How far is this wick from the 50% between these two white dotted lines? There's about the 50%. We're a ways away. 4437 to 4421. I still probably wouldn't even trust that. So yeah, I would take upside, probably risky. This is super risky upside for gold above 4411. Sell side would just be break of trend line and below the bottom of this 4 hour as well. So I would take sells on so updating gold upside and downside levels for day trades. This is like specifically micro. We are not looking at big pictures on the 15-minute time frame. So sells really anything below 440411. I think we're still going to see sells on gold here. Now if we get back above 40411, we're buying, and to be safe, 441113. But again, anything below 4404.11 could be sells here. But we still have this little sideways trend line we're kind of respecting, so maybe we bounce off here, right? If we keep that, to be safe, sells to target this gap as well, get some gap filled. Nice. Sells on gold below 4,360.33. Those are my two levels for gold. And you know what, I'll post this in the chat live for you guys as well, just so we have some trading levels for the futures people. What is that? 4411.13. Oops. And I'm trying to keep this layout as well. 4,360.33. We'll just post this for now. I don't really want to do one for silver just because I don't care about silver as much. I'd rather just buy gold and silver. Like I totally get trading it, but like I guess my rationale is like I can physically hold gold and silver, whereas like with Bitcoin I can't do that. So I might as well just, you know, like buy physically what I can. And anyways, let's finish this video. We're already at 18 minutes. We need to wrap this up. So that's outlook for gold this week. Really for the next couple of days. I wouldn't call that a macro or big picture outlook. That's going to change very quick here as the week goes on. Yeah, QQQ, I could see sells from this 4 hour. Again, we had some very heavy selling, it looks like, on Friday, which created a 4 hour sell side imbalance. So this little zone, basically, I think price sells from there. So I would take, I mean, yeah, maybe it's one of those where we use, it's risky even to hold above there as well, but I would say maybe longs above. And I don't want to get caught up here, but I do want to take advantage of these lows. Maybe we have equal lows. Are those equal lows right there? Am I tripping? Let's go, hold on, let me go to the 4 minute. Yeah, we do have some liquidity in here, so maybe we just use one of these levels and we'll see if that gets swept or what. If we have another one, we'll use maybe a different one, but nah, it's okay, we'll use those. So that's going to be our downside level for QQQ, is those equal lows there, maybe a little below it like that. And then again, this is assuming nothing changes pre-market, right? So this little outlook, this gold outlook, QQQ, Nvda, whatever we're looking at, this all could change in pre-market as market opens and volume starts coming in. But if price stays here about, and we'll just do 50%, I mean, that's going to be risky as hell anyways, either way you go about it. But I could see price probably buying, I mean, at least to the top of there, above here. Otherwise, we just sell from the 4 hour and get some early entry into the downside here. So anyways, that's my outlook for QQQ. We'll post this Monday morning if these prices hold. If not, I'll change this. Above 1605, below 613.38. For now, let's go look at Nvidia again. This is all micro. We'll recap big picture maybe later in the week or something, but so we actually did take out this high, so we should be bullish. But we've already broken also this little trend line, which is pretty cool to see. Like always. Maybe we tighten that because that just looks better like that, I think. I think we do get sell side for Nvidia here soon. I don't know. Maybe because though we've broken that trend line, right? This trend line to the upside is just going to continue here for, or at least we take it to this zone. Like, I don't know that we create new all-time high, obviously, but I could see us revisiting blue zone there that I still have, which we've already sold from, right? No, we haven't actually sold from this zone. We sold from this zone and then broke it, and we're just continuing higher. So I think, yeah, we could see Nvidia up to 193.16. Honestly, longs above here probably still work, but just because it's already worked once, I'm gonna edit that and say we need to hold above there to target zone. We need to fill the 4 hour above there. So maybe here is our upside level. The whole reason I'm doing that is because that's a 15-minute candle there. If we use that as like a smaller supply zone, since we sold from there high day, right? Then if we hold inside of the supply zone, it's less likely we sell from it. So I would say anything above that blue dotted line, we should be good to risk it for the biscuit to the upside. Otherwise, you just have to close it a quick loss. And I think Nvidia could sell. So maybe to be super safe, we move it upside to there, maybe halfway through the zone, but just not much room there. It's going to target the gap, the rest of the imbalance, which is only up to 194.46. So I'm just capturing like $2 there price before I'd close here at that, again, a white line, which let's drag these out so it makes it easier to see as well. This price is basically back inside this, which is a 4 hour, and this is the highest point we have of mitigation. Took out all these. We still have this daily to watch down here, which I would like to see sell side. I would prefer to see Nvidia just sell from here rather than try to mess with upside. So I guess, yeah, honestly, use old downside or upside as upside. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Use old upside as downside, right? Old support becoming new resistance. I could see that happening. So maybe even work with it a little bit below there. And then worst case scenario, we just fill some gap and bounce back. We come back to quickly hold above 188, and then we just target upside. But that's my upside downside for Nvidia. I'm going to end this video here, post it. Hopefully this helps some people gain some insight on not only how to analyze markets, but just how possible it is to be right with analysis. I mean, you saw the recaps at the beginning of the video. I'm super excited for 2026. A lot of goals are going to be reached. A lot of new profit targets will be reached. It looks difficult. It is, but it is worth it. So anyways, much love. Thanks for joining me. And more content to come this year. I didn't even realize my camera shifted at some point. Sorry. Peace.